The title of my message this morning is The Place of Change. The Place of Change. Just a fun fact about me, I strongly dislike the shops. We were out on Friday and I said the word hate and they said that was a strong word. So I strongly dislike the shops. Hate it. I go into the shops with my wife and I'm just like, oh. I'd rather sit in the car and wait for her than walk into the shop myself. Unless, and this is going to be so selfish and that you guys are my therapy session, unless it's to buy myself clothes. When it's for me, I'm like, let's go to the shops now. And we walk into the shop and it's like, hey, Edgars, what do you have? Let's see what you got. Oh, okay, no, you guys suck. Okay, let's move on to factory. Cool, let's see what you have. And every shop we go into, you view what they have, you grab some items, you get to the locker room, the place of change. And as you get to the locker room, they're like, sorry, sir, only 5 items, but I've got 10. Fine, keep 5. I'll go get change. And as you're getting change, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, a bit saggy, baby, and she's always walking around somewhere in the shop, so I have to walk out in my jeans and be like, babes, how does it look? Yeah, okay. And the lady that says, like, yeah, look good, hey, that's very nice. They were paid to say that. Wow. Then my wife says, okay, that one's good, and I look at it and I'm like, you know, this is very shallow, but I'm not alone in this, I know this for a fact. After you walk out, you purchase this item or this outfit, you walk anywhere, there's this confidence in you. As soon as you have new drip, there's this confidence in you. You walk like the one time I got new shoes and Callum told me, you're walking different. And I was like, shut up. So you walk with this outfit and you're just like, there's this confidence, there's this whole, you know what I'm talking about? I'm not alone in this, right? So it got me thinking, well, that was a shallow place of change, but yet when we think about the cross, the place of actual change, does it really bring that confidence in our step? Does it bring that freshness to who we are? I gave my life to Jesus 2 years ago, and now I'm just like, blah. Is the cross really the place of change in our lives when we compare it to something as shallow as our clothing, which is very important? The cross was the ultimate place of change. As we heard Pastor Zelda said last week and Primrose this morning, what happened at the cross and after the cross should bring a noticeable change. We cannot remain the same if we understand what happened at the cross. We will not walk around the same if we understand what happened at the cross. We won't be the same people if we understand that the cross brought life to us, freedom to us, victory to us, and yet we walk around after Easter and we're just like, ah. The cross was the ultimate place of change. John 21:15 to 19, our passage for today. We're going to read it together. It's on the screens right now. After breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these others? Now, these others could have been the people around him. It could have been his equipment, his boat, the fish he catches. But the question was, do you love me more than these others? Yes, Peter replied, you know I am your friend. That's where friend zone started. Then feed my lambs, Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, Simon, son of John, do you really love me? Yes, Lord, Peter said, you know I am your friend. Then take care of my sheep. Jesus said once more, and he asked him, Simon, son of John, are you even my friend? And Peter was grieved at the way Jesus asked the question this third time. Lord, you know my heart. You know who I am, he said. And Jesus said, then feed my little sheep. When you were young, you were able to do as you like and go wherever you wanted to. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and others will direct you and take you where you don't want to go. Jesus said this to let him know what kind of death he will die to glorify God. Then Jesus told him, follow me. Because change happened at the cross, because Jesus is alive, because of the resurrection power that comes with the cross, we as a church need to change our confessions. Life after the resurrection means changing our confessions. In this passage, Jesus publicly asked Peter, "Do you love me?" This was a moment that Jesus was creating for Peter to self-evaluate where he was at. Jesus already knew Peter's heart. Jesus knew who Peter was. Jesus knew everybody. He knew all our thoughts. He knew what was going on. It wasn't for him to know if Peter actually loves him. This was a space to create for Peter to go, do I really love him? A moment of self-evaluation. The reality is, as a church, we need to self-evaluate where we are in life right now. To see what's coming out of our mouths. To see what we're thinking about, speaking about, living out. We need to start being intentional about self-evaluation. And this has been a process in my life more than ever in the last 2 weeks. Like, the only word I'm using in my household is process. Process. My wife's like, can you stop saying process? It's like a swear word in my house now. Because the reality is, I woke up one morning, I went to a leadership training, and I woke up the next morning, I'm like, goodness me, I just go from task to task to task to task to task to task, but I forget the very fact that I need to process what's happening in my life, in my mind, in this moment. I need to evaluate and become self-aware of what's happening in my life. So it's highlighted in this passage where Peter found himself. Peter was living in the cloud of denying Jesus. He was carrying this heavy cloud that he denied Jesus. And he's walking around with this cloud, and he responds to Jesus' question of, do you really love me? And Jesus is asking with agape love, which is the Greek translation, and that means that your self-sacrificial love, 100% full of me love. I am deeply in love with you, Jesus. Jesus asked that kind of question, and Peter comes along, and his response to this very important question is, I am your friend. He responds with a phileo love, which means brotherly affection. So bromance was a thing, but I'm not going deeper with this thing. That's how he responds to Jesus, with a 70% kind of love, because he's carrying this cloud of how he had denied Jesus. The reality is, if the resurrection never happened, Peter would have simply stayed a fisherman. Because after the cross and everything that happened, Peter went back to fishing. He went back to fishing, and he stayed as a fisherman. And if the resurrection never happened, let's just all get in the story together for a moment. If the resurrection of Jesus Christ never took place, Peter would have gone back to being a fisherman, and he would have carried on carrying that cloud of how he had denied Jesus for the rest of his life. Jesus comes, do you love me? Isn't it interesting that when we mess up, we go back to who we used to be? Isn't it interesting that when we mess up, we leave Jesus and go back to the thing that we felt comfortable in once upon a time? That's not life after the resurrection. See, no matter the mess you've made, no matter the pain you're carrying, no matter the pain you faced in your life, no matter the highs and the lows, as we heard last week, no matter what you've been through, Jesus is alive, and he wants you to change your confession. He wants you to change how you speak about yourself, how you speak about your family, how you speak about your wife, how you speak about this country. He wants you to change your confession. He wants us to change who we are. No longer carrying this denial in our lives of who we used to be, but actually carrying a new confession. Change your confession of your future, for goodness sake. Change your confession. Whatever you've been carrying, you no longer have to carry, because you are no longer bound. There's a great song. Anyway, let's move on. I'm not going to sing it. Change your confession of yourself. Change your confession of your family. In essence, what I'm trying to get is, as a church, we need to get to our wardrobe and start looking through, what is this new thing that I want to select? Let's put that nice. What is this newness that I need? But you're not going to know what new outfit to select if you haven't started with evaluating where you're at. And some of us are so busy over-evaluating that we're forgetting to change. So let's evaluate where we're at and actually look through the wardrobe and be like, what's the new thing that I need in this season right now? I've been the same old person for this long time. What is the new thing that I need right now? Select your new outfit, something new, but you need to confess something new in your life. Peter had denied Christ, and now Christ gives him this opportunity, in some measure, to repair his fault by a triple confession. And Christ is giving us that same opportunity to repair our fault, change our confession, putting on a confession of how much I love Jesus, putting on a confession of how I'm going to live for Jesus, putting on a confession of how much I want to think like Jesus. I mean, even as Jean-Marie said, we're so consumed by money and the things of this world, but we're forgetting our confession. We're forgetting what we love, who we're supposed to be, who He's called us to be. Just a side note here, Peter denied Jesus in emotion. Peter responded to Jesus' question through emotion. Peter lived a very limited life in the beginning because of emotion. The reality is he never understood and never fully loved Jesus with the agape love. And if he was fully in and deep with Jesus, he would not have responded with emotion. So for us, we need to get to a place where we're really asking ourselves, do I love him with 100% of who I am? What has your confession been? What would you answer if you were asked today, do you love me? Do you really love me? Are you even my friend? The second thing we can see is it changes our cause. The cross changes our confession. Life after the resurrection changes our confession. Life after the resurrection changes our cause. See, in Peter's restoration, there was a three-part question, or 3 parts to what happened: the question, the response, and the commission. Jesus could have said, I love you, buddy, but I can no longer use you in the capacity that I want to, or had hoped to use you in. He could have been like, yo, you messed up just a little bit too much. You denied me. But Jesus' response to his friendship love is, I'm going to trust you with the most important thing to me. Take care of my sheep. He could have been like, Peter, you denied me, I'm denying you. You're out. Cheers. I'll find someone else. But he was like, no, let me give you the most important thing to me, which is people. Take care of my sheep. Peter went back to his life of fishing. His cause was fishing. As I said earlier, his whole cause was fishing. He was fully committed to this life of fishing once again. And then Jesus comes back. He's resurrected. And Jesus comes to restore Peter and change his cause. It was one thing to say, I love you, Jesus. But the real test was the willingness to serve Jesus' cause. I mean, Jesus was all about serving others. Even our story began with, and he made them breakfast. Imagine that. Jesus walking on earth again. My goodness. There they are fishing, not catching any fish. He's like, throw it on the other side while I make you guys breakfast. How awesome is Jesus? He just serves other people. And his test for Peter here was, it doesn't matter how you messed up, but what matters to me is if you say you love me, show me in your actions. Serve other people. Be kind to other people. And the same thing is true and applicable for us today. If we live in the resurrection power of Jesus Christ, then our cause can no longer be just what we want and what we do. Our cause needs to shift as we shift with the cross and the noticeable change that comes with the cross. Our cause needs to change to being other people focused. It was a change for Peter from a selfish, self-condemning cause to a Christ-centered, Christ-loving cause. Now, Jesus didn't ask Peter, are you sorry? Are you really sorry? He said, do you love me? Jesus didn't go, do you promise you will never ever do it again? Pinky promise. No, Jesus was like, if you say you love me, feed my sheep. Serve me. Care for other people. He made him face squarely what he was faltered with so that he could focus on what was ahead. Maybe today you need to focus on your mess for a moment and then get rid of it so you can focus on what's ahead. And that is serving other people, changing your cause. Church, the cross was the place of change. And today we need to realize that because we've been changed, we need to change our cause. It's one thing to recognize your confession and be like, I'm going to go through the wardrobe. Ooh, yay. Absolutely gorgeous. You need to change your confession, which means there's an action to this confession. You actually have to change. It takes some work, It's the selecting part. That's a lot of work. Man, trying to find a new outfit is crazy work. But you need to actually do the work. Drop a hanger if you need to. But actually change. Do the work. Because if you say that you love Him, then you need to do the work of loving other people. It's not just saying, oh yes, this has been my problem for such a long time. I need to get better at this. I need to change it. I'm good at seeing big things, but I suck at making it happen. So that's why I have a good wife that goes, remember, you want to make it happen, right? Yes. It's great to see a new wardrobe and confess that you need to change certain things, but the hard work is the putting on. I don't know if you saw how uncomfortable that was for me to put on. Oh, this is embarrassing. It's hard work to put it on, but we need to change our cause. May your cause no longer be this life after the resurrection. My cause is to work a 9-to-5 job. May your cause no longer be living from paycheck to paycheck. May your cause no longer be satisfying other people, pleasing other people. May your cause no longer be, I need to get to gym 3 times a week. May your cause never be just about changing your actual outfit. But can we get to a place where our cause, because of what happened at the cross, and after the cross, our cause goes a little bit deeper and a little bit further. That it's not just my work. Guys, I can't get to church because I'm working on Sundays. Or I can't share the gospel because, I'm an introvert. Can we get to a place where our cause changes because of what happened at the cross? And that's about, if you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, take care of my sheep. There's some sheep in your office that need care. There's some sheep in your life that need some love. This is life after the resurrection, not just kumbaya, sit on my seat and keep it warm. It's going out and sharing the gospel to other people. Just a side note, again, I like side notes. The way Jesus restored Peter was to get Peter's eyes off Peter and onto others. So if you're sitting here today and maybe you're struggling mentally, you're struggling with depression, you're struggling with stress because of your finances, you're struggling in your marriage, whatever your struggle is, maybe it's time for you to take your eyes off of yourself and start putting it in serving other people. Because as we serve other people, we ourselves get healed. We ourselves grow. Life after the resurrection means changing your confession, changing your cause. And life after the resurrection means changing our course. Changing our course. Jesus said this to let him know what kind of death he would die to glorify God. Then Jesus told him, follow me, verse 19 of our passage. Then Jesus told him, follow me. Jesus brings to Peter's attention exactly how he would die. He tells him, Peter, your arms are going to be stretched from side to side, and people are going to take you where you don't want to go. And you will die for your faith, in essence. And yeah, Peter, when he did die, he went and got crucified. But he was not willing to do it the same way as his master, and he got crucified upside down. But Jesus told him, this is how you're going to die, Peter. And then the words after that, now follow me. Because you're about to follow me, this is how you're going to die. But follow me. And Peter follows him. And because Peter follows him, it changes his entire course. He goes from being a fisherman to being an evangelist. He goes from being impetuous to being a rock. He goes from being a simple man to someone who was part of the process of birthing the church of Jesus Christ. His course was going one way, but because of the cross and life after the resurrection, his course went a whole nother way. Follow me. Church, your future might not look that great. I mean, you don't even have a glimpse of what your future's about. Peter got told, you're going to die like this. It doesn't actually matter how uncertain our future is. It doesn't matter how we're feeling about our future or the fear that we're carrying. Because all he's asking is, will you follow me? Will you follow me in spite of what you're going through? Will you follow me even though life is at its hardest point right now? Will you keep following me even though you're deeply hurting in this moment right now? Will you follow me even if you're on a mountaintop right now? Will you keep following me? I mean, fishing is cool. I went deep sea fishing for the first time in January with my brother-in-law. Okay, other than the bit of nauseous feeling. Fishing was cool. I caught little fish and it was like, wow. Other folks said fish. And I was like, wow. Fishing's great, but imagine being part of birthing the church of Jesus Christ. The cross changed his course. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Now, we may not have to literally die for Jesus, but we will have to die to self and carry our cross every single day. I want to finish with this interesting thought. The verse says, when you were young, you could do what you want and go wherever you wanted. Following Jesus may mean that you need to stop doing what you want and going where you want to go. That's carrying your cross. When you were young, you used to do those things. But following Jesus means you need to surrender some things. Give up some things. No longer do what you want, when you want. But actually just going, God, because of the cross, I want you to change my course. I want to do your will. Not my will be done, but yours. So the life after the resurrection is changing your confession, changing your cause, and changing your course.